Every beast I tame makes me stronger, if they don't kill me first. The others mocked my bond, but my beast pets and I will rise from their laughter. Ugh, you got ash on my coat, you little coal runt. A massive bully hurled me across the concrete like a rag doll. Laughter erupted from the crowd of wealthy students closing in around me. Edgar flicked the ash from my clothes back at my face. How'd you get the money to pay for this initiation? Don't you know the injection can kill unworthy peasants like you? Today was the day of my divine injection. If it didn't kill me, then I could gain a superhuman ability and enroll in the Golden Divine Academy. I was hoping that today would be my lucky day. For once. Then I noticed that my prized letter had fallen out of my pocket. No! I reached for it, but Edgar's boot came down hard on my hand before I could touch it. Pain surged through my arm. What's this? He snatched it up and read aloud. Good luck, Karl. Don't worry about the money. I poured the rest of my savings into your divine injection because I believe in you. Do it for your Lila and me. Love, Mum. The crowd broke into laughter. I shouted, "Give it back!" Edgar pushed me back with his boot. Your poor mother. She's going to regret wasting all that on you. Suddenly another voice called out, "Leave him alone and hand it over." It was Dana. She stepped in and shoved Edgar back. Dana was my one and only childhood friend. She was also the most beautiful girl in town, with gray eyes that never flinched, even in front of Edgar. Edgar stared at her, then tore the letter and let the pieces flutter to the floor. There, take it. No. I dropped to my knees, scooping up the scraps. Dana knelt beside me, helping gather them. Don't let him get to you, Karl. Then the intercom blared overhead. Section B, report to your testing bays. My heart pounded. It was time for the serum injection. It could either kill me or make me powerful. I held the pieces of the letter to my chest. Please, let this change everything. Edgar smirked. Showtime. Ash wipe. In line, I watched the students in front of me exit their injection rooms, one by one. Dana went in, then stepped out a minute later. Her eyes glowed faintly, and a silver moon-shaped mark gleamed on her chest. She was awakened, as a mage. Congratulations, you're going to the Golden Divine Academy. An official handed her a folder as she walked past. I grinned and pumped my fist for her. Then someone shoved me hard from behind. It was Edgar, and he had changed too. He now had a warrior's mark on his chest. I'm going to the Golden Divine Academy, loser. Where are you going after this? Back to the mines? Maybe to the morgue? I didn't respond, because I was next. The door sealed behind me with a hiss. A tall official in a white coat motioned me over without looking up from his digital pad. Sit, left arm out. I lowered myself onto the cold med bed and rolled my sleeve up. This was it. Everything my mother had scraped together, everything left of our family name. My one chance to escape my life of poverty in the mines. The official tapped the syringe. Deep breath, please. I closed my eyes. Please. I don't care what power I get. Just let me pass. The cold sting of the needle plunged in. Then a sharp burn shot up my arm. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. And then... the lights flickered. Machinery around the room began to spark. Outside, the birds shrieked in ragged unison. The official's pen froze mid-mark. What the... Ah! Pain detonated in my chest. My breath ripped out of me as something seared through my bloodstream, crawling up toward my shoulder. I gasped and looked down. On my arm, a large, jagged, three-clawed mark I'd never seen before was carved deep into my skin, raw and glowing, blazing so intensely it painted the whole room in crimson light. The official staggered back into a tray of instruments, as gasps rippled across the room. I've never seen that mark before. What is that? Suddenly, the jagged scar on my arm blazed brighter and flared outward, forming the shape of an enormous beast's claw, a spectral aura hanging above me like a predator ready to strike. Panic rose in my throat. What is this? Am I going to die? He tapped frantically at his pad, trying to make sense of the readings, while the assistants slowly backed away, one of them edging toward the door. Class, unknown. Power, unknown. Then he froze. When he looked up, his face had gone pale, as if he'd seen a ghost. There's no way. I took a step toward him. No way. What? But before he could answer, the beast-shaped aura shimmered, its massive claws crashing down, engulfing me in a surge of blinding red light. No! Suddenly the walls melted away, and I was in the wilderness, jagged trees stabbing at the sky. From the shadows, shapes emerged, A silver-furred deer with a scorpion's tail, a giant spider crackling with lightning, a white wolf with 9 flaming tails. The beasts all bowed to me. What the hell? Why were they bowing? If this was some kind of dream, it felt incredibly real. Then a huge shadow fell over me. Vast wings, something huge flying overhead with an epic screech. I looked up to see what it was, but then I jolted upright to the loud rattle of a train. "Karl!" Dana's face snapped into focus beside me. I looked around in confusion to see everyone staring at the jagged red claw mark on my arm. It blazed like molten metal, flooding the cabin with light. They gasped. "What is that mark?" I yanked my sleeve down, but before I could say anything, "Attention students!" The train car fell quiet. At the front, a woman in a military coat stepped inside. Her name tag read, Sergeant Rita. "Congratulations on passing your divine injection and being accepted into the Golden Divine Academy. We will arrive shortly." Accepted? So, this was real. My head still throbbed from the vision. What did it mean? What was my power? I suggest you begin training immediately. You'll find resources specific to your unique abilities in your assigned cars. To my left, a boy flexed his hand and sparks snapped between his fingers. To my right, a girl floated a coin above her palm. Meanwhile, all I had was a throbbing headache and a bizarre claw mark. Then, Sergeant Rita's gaze cut into me. "If you have yet to manifest your abilities, make sure you do so before we reach the gates. You'll need them to survive your first trial. Now find your individual cabin cars and get started." Near the front, I spotted the bully Edgar whispering to Sergeant Rita, pointing to me. Rita's gaze locked on me. Edgar sneered, clearly determined to make this day hell for me from start to finish. "Hey Karl, are you okay?" Dana squeezed my shoulder and pointed at a door down the corridor, magic shimmering at her fingertips from her newly awakened mage powers. "You're supposed to go there. Good luck." I still had no idea what my power was. As I walked down the hall, absently scratching at the mark on my arm, my mind drifted back to the vision. Those creatures, that flaming-tailed wolf. All I knew was that the vision had felt real, like I was seeing the future. Suddenly, a strange voice echoed in my head. "Pet skills not available." Whoa, what? Who was that? "You must record a pet." Record a what now? Was this part of my power? Was I magical veterinarian? Before I could think, a snack cart rolled into me. The attendant, a kind-faced woman with a warm smile, steadied the cart. "Snacks, sir?" "Oh, no, My stomach growled loud enough for both of us to hear. "Sure." Then she immediately handed me an egg the size of a football, like she'd been planning to all along. I blinked, just staring at it. "Enjoy." Then she wheeled away before I could ask anything. I stared at the bizarre egg in my hands. What kind of snack was this? More importantly, what kind of gigantic animal did this come from? I tucked my new egg snack under my arm and opened the door to my private car and looked around, looking for the resources Rita mentioned. But there were no magic training tools anywhere. Suddenly I realized the egg was gone. Wait, what? Had I dropped it? Then, the room around me warped and my vision snapped to white, as my eyes rolled back into my skull. For the third time today, I was somewhere else. But this time, I felt like I actually knew where I was. This was a space inside my mind where my powers lived, and it felt deeply familiar. The world around me was nothing but white, just emptiness stretching in every direction. And there, on a stone altar, was a straw nest, and in that nest sat the egg, glowing faintly, the same one I'd just been holding, covering in glowing runes. This must be one hell of a snack. Then the voice returned, calm and mechanical. "Suitable pet target found." What? Suddenly the egg trembled, then cracked open. I felt myself lose balance. For a moment, my mind snapped back to the real world, but I wasn't in my cabin. I was in the train's kitchen, bumping into a cook. What the hell? Had I just transwalked here without realizing it? Sorry about that. Don't worry, kid. You must be really hungry. Let me get you some meat. Suddenly, my vision snapped violently back into my mind. In front of me sat the cracked egg, and beside it, a small bird chirped softly. What in the world? "Beast space activated, Windspeed Hawk pet added." My eyes widened. Wait, what? Is this my power? This isn't a Windspeed Hawk, this is just a hatchling. Windspeed Hawks were birds with a 7-foot wingspan, capable of creating tornadoes. This little bird was cute, yes, but it was no Windspeed Hawk. The smell of cooked meat brought me out of beast space and back to the real world. "Here you go. The cook extended a plate, which I ravenously snatched out of his hand without thinking. Within seconds, I was devouring all of the meat like I had never eaten anything before. It was like my body had been possessed by a hungry animal, or rather, a hungry bird. When I regained control of my body, I had pieces of meat all over my face. I looked at the cook, bowed, and promptly scurried out. I gotta get back to Dana. She'll know what this beast space thing is. Then the voice inside my head pinged through again. Beast space activated. Supervision activated. Supervision. I blinked, and my vision changed forever. The forests in the distance became crystal clear. Everything in my peripheral vision was just as clear as what was in front of me. I can see a tiny nest of quill beasts 100 miles away, I exclaimed in surprise. It was incredible, and the world was so much more vivid now, with colors I hadn't seen before. I knew Windspeed Hawks could see into the ultraviolet and infrared spectrums, for one. But they were also accomplished nocturnal hunters, with excellent night vision as well. Maybe this skill isn't so bad after all. And to my surprise, that wasn't all, because the beast space voice kept coming through with new downloads. Additional skills include Rend. Rend? Alright. I let out a whistle. Rend was a basic combat skill that allowed me to create a super sharp air blast. Many people ignored it because it wasn't as showy as other skills, but I knew its value and immediately began musing to myself about the possibilities. Just imagine what I could do if I combined Rend and supervision. I could cheat on any exam and see any enemy coming from at least 100 miles away. I went back into the beast space to thank the little hatchling for its powers. But to my surprise, the hatchling had also grown into a little bird, almost as big as my hand. Okay, maybe you will grow into a Windspeed Hawk after all.
Do you want to find out what happens next? Then download the Pocket FM app right now and listen to First Legendary Beastmaster for free. Tap the button to continue the story right now.